What's up, guys? Swift here, covering everything Chicago Bears. I wanted to talk about what I think the Bears will do to replace Eddie Jackson at free safety. I released a video earlier today discussing the Bears' plans on moving on from Bojack. I wanted to break down potential free agent targets and draft targets that could replace him at the position. I'm going to give my top 10 for each. Also, I wanted to give an update on the savings we could get from releasing him. Let's get right into it. First off, the numbers I showed this morning were assuming Eddie Jackson would be cut before June 1st. There was a new rule last year in the NFL where teams can cut players before June 1st, but still designate them as post-June 1st releases. If the Bears do this with Eddie Jackson, they will save even more money. I wanted to quickly cover that as I put a graphic up on the screen to show the difference in the numbers if he's designated as pre-June 1st cut or post-June 1st. The Bears can save an additional $1.5 million in cap space and get a smaller dead cap hit by designating him as a post-June 1st release. I believe that is what they will most likely do this year and save over $14 million in cap space. My fault for missing this detail earlier. But now let's talk about potential free agent safeties that the Bears could target next month. I have a top 10 ranking and we'll be talking briefly about each guy. I think 9 of the 10 would be really good fits, with only one guy not really being a great fit in my opinion. I'm not going to waste my time and go backwards. This isn't a countdown, but these are the guys who are best fits. Easily the number one option in the draft or free agency to me is Antoine Winfield Jr. I think it's highly unlikely he hits free agency, but if he does, he'd easily be my number one target no matter the cost. He would give the Bears the best secondary in the NFL. He's only 25 years old and a 2-time All-Pro and 3-time Pro Bowler, potentially the best safety in the league. This is the kind of guy you snag up if he hits free agency. But if we can't land my number one guy, there are a number of guys who could be big upgrades at the position still. My next favorite would be Xavier McKinney from the Giants. At just 24 years old, he's a young and upcoming player who would be a perfect replacement for Bojack. I love his game. He's a solid tackler, but he also profiles as one of the better single high safeties in the league who can play that center field role and allow Brisker to move all around. I love his game and his versatility. Next up is Kyle Duggar. He's the one guy on the list who I have ranked high, but he isn't a fit to me, unless the Bears wanted to move Brisker to free safety, so I won't waste too much time on Duggar. Cameron Curl comes in at number 4, and to me he is a great fit. A very underrated player who could be a value signing in free agency. He's top in the league at forcing incompletions and just 24 years old. And then I get to Geno Stone, another 24-year-old free agent safety from the Ravens. His 84.9 grade from PFF shows how good he is in coverage. His biggest issue is missing tackles, but he's another young, solid safety option that could be a free agent. And then I have Julian Blackmon. The former cornerback found a home at free safety with the Colts, and the most interesting part about it is Matt Eberflus was his defensive coordinator when he switched from corner to safety as a rookie. He spent the first 2 years of his NFL career with Eberflus in Indy. Maybe a reunion is in order here. Blackmon is a free safety who is just 25 years old as well, and a guy I think we could get at a good value. Watch out for Julian Blackmon. Next on the list is C.J. Gardner-Johnson, CD Deuce. He could return to Detroit, but he's another young, versatile free agent safety. He just turned 26 years old, and he already has 12 career interceptions. He has played on 3 teams in the last 3 years and can't seem to find a home, though. He's an intriguing player. And then I get to Jordan Fuller. The former 6th-round pick for the Rams has started 46 games in 4 years. He's another young option at just 25 years old. Fuller is underrated, but he could be a really good fit next to Jaquan Brisker. He's a sure tackler and a ball hawk. I like his game. And then the final 2 spots on the list, we have Darnell Savage, the former Green Bay Packer. He's also scheduled to hit free agency. Only 26 years old, he has 9 career interceptions, and he's been a solid starter for the Packers. Not a bad option. And then we get to Jordan Whitehead from the Jets. He's a better fit as an in-the-box strong safety, but he showed a ton of versatility playing deep center field the last 2 years with the Jets, and has also showcased some awesome ball skills. The 26-year-old has 11 career interceptions, and he would be a good fit if we can't land a player higher on the list. Overall, the safety position looks really good heading into free agency. We never know how many of these players will get tagged or sign a new deal with their current team, but I have to say, with a month to go before free agency, this list looks like one of the better safety classes I've ever seen. As long as 5 to 7 of these guys make it to free agency, Poles is going to have plenty of options. But what about the NFL draft? I also wanted to quickly cover my early rankings for safeties in the draft as well. I'm going to give you my top 5 perfect fits for the Bears and my honorable mentions to round out an early look at the top 10 safeties in the upcoming draft. Starting with Cam Kinchens from Miami, he's easily my favorite safety in the draft. I love his game and will be watching more tape on him going forward. I plan on doing scouting reports for all of these safeties now, unless we sign one in free agency. At number 2, I have Georgia's Javon Bullard. I love his game a lot. Him and Tyler Nubin are neck and neck for that number 2 spot in my rankings. Nubin was a former teammate of Terrell Smith at Minnesota. He's another really good fit. And then at number 4, I have Kalen Bullock from USC. I think all 4 of these guys would be great fits, but I do think there's a bit of a drop-off after the top 4. Georgia's Tyke Smith has been rising up my board. I have him at number 5. I also like Jaden Hicks, Cole Bishop, and Bo Braid, but I'm not sure how high I would take those guys and need to watch more tape on them. And then I have 2 sleepers for later in the draft at the bottom of the board in James Williams and Josh Proctor. I liked both of those guys a ton down at the Senior Bowl, and I think they both fit what Poles is looking for, especially in a later round pick. This is just an early look at my top 10 safeties for the 2024 draft. I'll be providing more in-depth looks at these guys going forward. I've also been asked a lot about last year's rookie Terrell Smith from Minnesota. People ask if he could potentially move to free safety. It's an interesting thought, and I do think he could potentially do that. I mentioned that in my breakdown I did on him last year, but I think the Bears need him more at cornerback. When you move him to safety, suddenly we don't have as much depth at the position, so I expect him to stay at cornerback and for Ryan Poles to address the safety position this offseason. Right now, if I had to guess, I would bet on us signing a safety in free agency while still maybe drafting one later in the draft. Especially if a lot of these guys don't get re-signed, it's just a really good potential crop of free agents at the position. With the cap space we have, I would sign a safety and a center next month for sure. Let me know what safety is your favorite in free agency and the draft. I think this is a position that Ryan Poles has to address now. Stay tuned. I'll be here covering the Bears every step of the way. Please remember to hit that like button for me, and until next time, bear down.